All right, imagine this. You're
Okay.
standing on the banks of the Mississippi,
Okay.
3,500 years ago.
Wow.
No smartphones,
Right.
no cars, just the sounds of nature
Mm-hmm.
and a bustling community all around you.
Yeah.
That's Poverty Point.
It's hard to imagine, isn't it?
I know,
This
right?
massive,
That's amazing.
complex settlement thriving centuries before the
Yeah,
pyramids
like,
of
like,
Egypt were
familiar.
even built.
And to think, most people have never even heard of it.
I know.
We're diving deep into Poverty Point today,
Okay.
a UNESCO World Heritage Site
Right.
in Louisiana
Yeah.
that's rewriting our understanding of ancient America.
Absolutely.
Our guide for this deep dive is an interview with Mark Brink,
Okay.
the park manager at Poverty Point, who lives and breathes this archaeology every day.
His passion for Poverty Point really shines through in the interview.
He does.
He paints such a vivid picture
I know, it's amazing.
of this ancient community.
Okay, let's set the stage first. Poverty Point is located in rural Louisiana
Okay.
along the Mississippi River.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, that's a big reason why it's so well preserved.
Less urban sprawl.
Yeah.
Fewer modern intrusions.
Right.
It's like a time capsule tucked away
I love that.
in the Louisiana landscape.
And the name itself,
Right.
Poverty Point,
Yeah.
is an interesting story.
Okay.
It's actually named after a 19th century plantation
Oh, wow.
that used to occupy the land.
Interesting.
Kind of ironic considering how rich this
Right.
site is in history.
Yeah, it's a reminder that these ancient sites
I know.
are often layered with stories,
Mm-hmm.
each generation leaving its mark on the landscape.
Exactly.
But let's talk about the layout of Poverty Point.
Okay.
It's truly unlike anything you've ever seen.
I know, it's mind-boggling.
You have this massive central plaza,
Yes.
43 acres,
It's huge.
a meticulously constructed
That's
level
all.
ground.
Imagine the time and effort that went into creating that space.
And just picture it, thousands of people gathering there
Yeah.
for ceremonies,
Right.
feasts, trade.
It must have been an incredible sight.
Especially when you consider
Yeah.
that this was a society
Right.
of hunter-gatherers.
Hunter-gatherers, yeah.
Not the agricultural societies we usually associate with large settlements.
Right. It really challenges our assumptions about what was possible
Yeah.
in ancient America.
It certainly does.
And then surrounding this plaza,
Okay.
you have these massive
Yes.
semi-elliptical ridges.
Semi-elliptical, wow.
If you laid them end to end,
Yeah, okay.
they'd stretch for over 6 miles.
6 miles?
6 miles. Can you imagine the manpower
Wow.
it took to grid those ridges
Yeah.
using only the tools they had back then?
It's a testament to their organizational skills.
I know, it's incredible.
And their ability to mobilize large groups of people for a common purpose.
Yeah.
And speaking of impressive feats of engineering,
Okay.
we can't forget the mounds.
Ah, yes. And the
Remember
most
this.
impressive one. I know, Mound A,
Mound A, yes.
72 feet tall and covers several acres.
That makes it the second largest
Wow.
constructed mound in North America.
It's almost unbelievable that they built something that massive
I know.
over 3,500 years ago.
And here's the kicker.
Okay.
Dr. T.R. Kidder,
Okay.
who's done extensive research on the mound,
Yeah.
believes it was constructed in just 1 to 3 months.
Wait, 3 months?
Yeah.
How is that even possible?
Well, he examined the soil layers
Okay.
and found no signs of rainfall
Wow.
or plant growth,
That's amazing.
which suggests a very rapid construction process.
That would have required a massive coordinated effort.
Absolutely.
Thousands of people working together
Yeah.
day and night. It boggles the mind.
And it makes you wonder
It does.
what was so important that it required such an incredible display
Right.
of labor and resources.
We know that later cultures also settled at Poverty Point,
Oh, interesting.
building their own structures on top of the older ones.
Oh.
So this place clearly held a special significance for centuries,
Yeah.
even after the original Poverty Point culture faded away.
It's like layers of history,
Yeah.
each one whispering secrets about the past.
Okay, let's zoom in on that central plaza for a bit.
Okay.
You mentioned it was meticulously constructed.
Yes.
What does that
Well,
mean exactly?
So they didn't just find a naturally flat area.
Okay.
They actually stripped away the existing topsoil
Wow.
and replaced it with a meter of carefully selected fill.
A meter of fill.
Yeah.
That's a serious commitment.
It is.
And what's even more fascinating
Yeah.
is that archaeologists have found these circular arrangements
Right.
of post holes
Yeah.
beneath the plaza's surface.
These post circles, or timber circles,
Okay.
are incredibly intriguing because they mirror similar structures
Yeah.
found in other parts of the world,
Interesting.
like the famous stone circles of Orkney
Right.
in Scotland.
It's like a universal human impulse to create these circular gathering
It
spaces,
seems to be, yeah.
these places of ritual and community.
And that raises questions about the purpose of the plaza at Poverty Point.
Mm-hmm.
Was it purely ceremonial?
Yeah.
Or did it also serve as a place for everyday activities like trading or socializing?
It could have been both, couldn't it?
It could have been.
Maybe it was a multifunctional space
Yeah,
adapting to the needs of the community.
right.
And the location of the plaza,
Okay.
right next to Bayou Mason,
Mm-hmm.
suggests how important the river was to these people.
Absolutely.
Bayou Mason wasn't just a source of water.
Right.
It was a lifeline,
Yeah.
connecting them to other communities
Right.
and providing access to vital resources.
Mm-hmm.
It was their highway,
Yeah.
their marketplace,
Mm.
their source of life.
Speaking of trade,
Right.
that's where the ridges come in, right?
That's where archaeologists have found the most clues about daily life at Poverty Point.
Right.
Ah,
And one of the most intriguing discoveries
yes.
are these tiny
Okay.
baked clay objects
Huh.
called Poverty Point objects.
Poverty Point objects.
Or PPOs.
PPOs, okay.
Researchers estimate there are millions of them
Millions.
scattered throughout the site.
But what are they used for?
Well, that's the million-dollar question.
Right.
It seems they were primarily used for cooking.
Okay.
Think of them like ancient heating elements.
Okay.
They'd heat these clay balls
Okay.
and use them to cook food in pits or baskets.
That's so ingenious.
It is.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
You wouldn't need to shape these PPOs in specific ways
Right.
for them to work as heating elements.
Yeah.
Yet they come in 6 distinct styles,
Oh, wow.
almost like they were intentionally designed.
And that's what's so fascinating.
Yeah.
The standardization suggests some kind of symbolic meaning.
Interesting.
Some researchers believe they might have represented different family groups or clans within the community.
So it's like their version of a family crest.
It could be, yeah.
That's amazing.
And these PPOs are one of the few artifacts found outside of Poverty Point
Yep.
that can be directly linked back to the culture.
What does that tell us?
It tells us they were actively trading with other groups,
Okay.
sometimes across hundreds of miles.
Wow.
In fact, materials from as far away as the Atlantic coast of Florida have
Yeah.
been found at Poverty Point.
That's incredible.
It really gives you a sense of how connected they were to a wider world.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just raw materials they were trading.
Oh, okay.
They also imported pottery from other regions.
Interesting.
Although it seems they had a preference for vessels made from steatite.
Also known as
Soakstone. Steatite is a soft, easily carved stone
Okay.
that's perfect for making bowls and containers.
So they were importing finished goods,
It seems so.
not just raw materials. That's interesting.
Yeah.
What does that tell us about them?
It suggests they valued craftsmanship from other regions. And it raises questions about the purpose of Poverty Point.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a hub for feasting?
Right.
A place for large-scale gatherings?
Oh.
A pilgrimage destination?
Or maybe it was all of these things.
It's possible.
A vibrant center of activity that drew people from far and wide.
Exactly.
And we haven't even talked about the most impressive feature yet.
Right.
Mound A.
Mound A.
It's a testament to human ingenuity and collaboration on a scale that's hard to fathom.
It truly is. Imagine the effort required to pile up tons of earth, all without the help of modern machinery. It's like building a skyscraper with your bare hands.
It's mind-blowing.
Real.
What tools did they even use? I can't imagine moving that much dirt with just sharpened sticks.
You're right, they had to get creative. Archaeologists have uncovered evidence of tools like digging sticks, sharpened deer shoulder blades, and possibly even stone hoes. It speaks to their resourcefulness and ingenuity.
And their sheer determination. I mean,
Yeah.
think about the logistics. Organizing labor transporting materials, feeding everyone involved.
Mhm.
It must have been a monumental undertaking.
Absolutely. And it raises questions about their social structure. How do they manage such a complex project without a hierarchical system, something akin to a government or a ruling class?
It's a fascinating mystery.
Okay.
And the fact that the mound seems to be primarily ceremonial with few artifacts found inside deepens the intrigue. Why go to all that effort for something with no apparent practical purpose?
Well, that's where the concept of costly signaling comes into play. Imagine it like this: building a massive mound like Mound A sends a clear message to anyone who sees it, a message of power, organization, and abundance.
So it's like a status symbol, a way of saying, look at what we can achieve.
Precisely. It's a way of showcasing their capabilities, their unity, and their connection to something greater than themselves. It's a testament to the power of collective action and shared belief.
It's like building a cathedral or a great pyramid. It's about more than just the physical structure. It's about expressing something profound about the culture that created it.
Exactly. And when you consider the context, a hunter-gatherer society building something on this scale, it really forces us to reevaluate our assumptions about what constitutes civilization.
It's a reminder that human history is full of surprises and that complexity can arise in unexpected places. So with all these incredible features and artifacts, how do archaeologists make sense of the overall significance of Poverty Point? What story does it tell us about these ancient people?
Well, Mark Brink in our source interview describes Poverty Point as a place to see and be seen. It was a hub for trade, a gathering place for ceremonies and rituals, and possibly even a pilgrimage destination for people across a vast region.
A pilgrimage site. What leads them to that conclusion?
The sheer scale of the site, the presence of exotic materials from far-flung locations, and the seemingly ritualistic nature of Mound A all point to a place that held a special significance, drawing people from far and wide.
So it wasn't just a local village. It was a regional center, a focal point for cultural exchange and spiritual expression.
Exactly, and that makes it even more intriguing. What drew people to Poverty Point? What beliefs or rituals did they share? What stories did they tell around their fires as they gazed up at that massive mound?
It's like a giant puzzle, and we're only just beginning to piece together the fragments. But even those fragments paint a picture of a society that was far more complex and interconnected than we might have imagined.
And it's crucial to remember that this isn't just about archaeology. It's about understanding the rich history and culture of the indigenous peoples of North America.
Absolutely. These sites are more than just collections of artifacts. They're tangible connections to the past, reminding us that these ancient cultures were real people with their own stories, beliefs, and ways of life.
And those stories deserve to be told, to be honored, and to be preserved for future generations. That's why the work being done at Poverty Point is so important.
Speaking of preservation, Mark seemed really passionate about balancing excavation with protecting the site for the future.
Yes, he emphasized that. It's a delicate balance, isn't it? You want to uncover the secrets of the past, but you also have to be mindful of the impact of excavation.
Because once you dig something up, you can't put it back exactly as it was. It's a one-way street.
Precisely. So archaeologists today are increasingly focused on non-invasive techniques using ground-penetrating radar and other technologies to map out the site without disturbing the soil.
That makes sense. It's like taking an X-ray of the Earth, revealing hidden structures and features without actually digging them up.
Exactly. And with only about 1% of Poverty Point actually excavated, imagine what secrets still lie buried beneath the surface.
It's almost overwhelming to think about. Every shovelful of earth could potentially uncover something that rewrites our understanding of the past.
And that's the beauty of archaeology. It's a never-ending process of discovery, constantly challenging our assumptions and revealing new facets of the human story.
It's like peeling back the layers of time, revealing glimpses of lives lived long ago. It makes you wonder about the people who built this place. What were their dreams, their fears, their aspirations? What did they believe in?
It sparks the imagination, doesn't it? To think of these ancient people gathering under the stars, sharing stories, and building something truly monumental, something that would stand the test of time.
And here we are thousands of years later, still marveling at their ingenuity and trying to piece together their story. It's a humbling thought.
It is, and it makes you realize that we're all part of this long, unbroken chain of human experience. Their story is our story.
And what a story it is.
Indeed. But even with all that we've learned, Poverty Point still holds many mysteries. For example, what about those enigmatic PPOs?
Right. We talked about how they were used for cooking and their potential social significance, but there's another layer to their story that's just as fascinating.
You're referring to the fact that some of these PPOs have been found in locations far beyond Poverty Point, suggesting a much wider network of exchange than initially thought.
Exactly. And it's not just the distance that's intriguing. It's the fact that some of these PPOs were found in contexts that suggest they weren't just traded for practical purposes. They seem to have held a symbolic meaning, a kind of cultural currency that extended far beyond the boundaries of Poverty Point itself.
It's as if these small clay objects carried with them a piece of the identity, the beliefs, and the ingenuity of the people who created them. They became ambassadors of Poverty Point culture, spreading their influence across a vast landscape.
It's like they were leaving breadcrumbs of their culture, little hints of their existence scattered across time and space.
And those breadcrumbs are what lead us back to them, allowing us to piece together their story bit by bit and to marvel at their accomplishments.
I think it makes you wonder, what will future archaeologists say about us? What breadcrumbs will we leave behind for them to discover? What will our legacy be?
It's a thought-provoking question, isn't it? It reminds us that we are all part of this ongoing human story, and that our actions today will shape the narrative for generations to come.
But returning to Poverty Point, one question that lingers for me is what ultimately led to its decline.
That's a question that archaeologists are still trying to answer. There's no evidence of catastrophic events like war or disease. It seems more likely that it was a gradual process, perhaps driven by environmental changes or shifts in social dynamics.
So it wasn't a sudden collapse, but a slow fading away like the embers of a dying fire.
A poignant image.
Right.
And yet, even in its decline, Poverty Point left an indelible mark on the landscape, a testament to human ingenuity and the enduring power of shared purpose.
It's a reminder that even the greatest civilizations eventually fade, but their legacy can live on for millennia, inspiring us to wonder, to explore, and to learn from the past.
Yeah, it really does make you think about, the cycles of history and the rise and fall of civilizations and the echoes of the past that still resonate today.
It does, and it underscores the importance of preserving these sites,
Right.
not just for their archaeological value,
Right.
but for the stories they tell us
Right.
about ourselves, about our shared human heritage. Yeah, because ultimately, Poverty Point isn't just a collection of mounds and artifacts.
Right.
It's a reflection of human potential,
Mm.
a testament to what we can achieve when we work together
Exactly.
towards a common goal.
And that's a message that resonates just as strongly today
Yes.
as it did thousands of years ago. Think about the challenges we face
I know.
as a global society, as climate change, social inequality, political polarization.
Yeah.
Poverty Point reminds us
It is.
that even in the absence of modern technology or complex social structures,
Right.
humans were capable of incredible feats of cooperation and innovation.
It's like they were saying, look, we can build something extraordinary with just our hands, our ingenuity, and our shared vision.
Yeah.
It's a powerful message of hope and possibility.
It is, and it challenges us to ask ourselves,
Yeah.
what's possible today if we harness that same spirit of collaboration and focus it on the issues facing our world?
Right.
What could we achieve if we set aside our differences and work together towards a common good?
That's a question worth pondering.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day,
Right.
to feel overwhelmed by the complexities of modern life. But Poverty Point offers a different perspective.
It does.
It invites us to step back to look at the long arc of human history
Yeah.
and to recognize the power of collective action.
It reminds us that even the greatest civilizations eventually fade, but their legacy can live on for millennia, inspiring us to wonder, to
Yeah.
explore, and to learn from the past.
Let's learn from the past.
Who knows what future archaeologists will discover about our own civilization?
Right.
What stories will they tell about us?
It's a humbling thought,
Yeah.
and it makes you realize that we're all part of this ongoing human story,
Yes.
both shaping and being shaped by the forces of history.
Well said. So if there's one thing we want our listener to take away from this deep dive into Poverty Point,
Okay.
it's this. Don't underestimate the power of human ingenuity,
Yeah,
collaboration, and the enduring legacy of the past.
absolutely. And if you're ever in Louisiana, make sure to visit Poverty Point
Yes.
and experience this incredible piece of history for yourself. You won't be disappointed.
And let us know what intrigued you most about this episode.
Yes.
We're always eager to hear from our listeners and to continue the conversation.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.